So we'll talk a little bit about how to identify stakeholders. So stakeholders should be identified as early in the project as possible so that you can really meet their needs and expectations. You know, you can learn about them, you can understand what their needs and expectations are, and then put a plan in place on how you're going to meet them, meet those needs and expectations. And also, a stakeholder should be regularly reviewed and identified, if there are new ones throughout the project as the changes occur. So, are all of the stakeholders that you identified at the beginning, are they all still there? Are there new ones? You need to constantly be managing that and analyzing it, and then also updating any like a stakeholder registry and all of that to make sure that that's all accounted for. You want to document that information regarding their interests, regarding their involvement, interdependencies, influence, and then also potential impact on the project success. So if you refer to a document, maybe like a business case or business management plan, a lot of times those can describe lists of stakeholders. A lot of times those types of documents are created before the project starts. So you can look at that, and they might have an early list of some of the key stakeholders. The communication management plan and the stakeholder management plan are two things that should describe the stakeholders and the planned engagement model. If you have change logs and issue logs and also requirements documents, those can help identify additional stakeholders as well. So if you are looking at, maybe you have a particular change to a requirement or some type of issue that's come up, and I had a similar thing on a project that I'm working on now where we did a deployment for something into production, and there was an issue that the customer had, and it, as we were resolving it, or once we had resolved it, then we kind of did a root cause analysis and determined that there was one thing that wasn't adequately tested before it went into production. And to get that to be tested, we actually had to engage another team who had specific resources and identify those new stakeholders at that point. So if we hadn't had that issue come up, we wouldn't have known that they needed to be on the project necessarily. So it's also important to note that stakeholders can be impacted or affected by any organizational environmental factors as well, or environment factors. And also utilizing existing templates and stakeholder lists from previous projects can be helpful as well. So do you have a stakeholder registry from a previous project, similar maybe to yours or not similar, but still might have some of the same resources? Definitely refer to that. Take a look at it and see if it is something that would be helpful for you and when you're identifying stakeholders.